Have you ever just looked at a plant and thought, how in the world do you do it? I mean, they're stuck in one spot, they can't run from a drought, they can't grab a coat for the winter, and yet they thrive. Well, today we're going to peel back the curtain and look at their secret weapon, a sophisticated chemical toolkit that lets them navigate, well, pretty much anything the world throws at them, all without moving an inch.
Right? It's the big question. If you can't move, you've got to adapt in other ways. And what's so cool is that their immobility isn't a weakness at all. It's actually the very thing that pushed them to evolve one of the most elegant survival systems on the planet, a system based not on running away, but on chemistry. So how exactly do they pull this off? Well, that brings us to our first section, the unseen network. To deal with all these challenges, plants have this constant stream of information flowing through their bodies. It's like a hidden communication network, and it's happening right now in every plant around you.
And this isn't just some random chemical soup. No, it's a full-on language, a language made of molecules that tells a plant, hey, it's time to grow, or whoa, conserve energy, or okay, time to make seeds. It's basically how a plant talks to itself to get things done.
So what are the words in this language? Well, that brings us to our next part, the chemical messengers. Scientists call them phytohormones, and you can think of them as the specific tools in that survival toolkit we mentioned, where every single tool has a very, very precise job.
Now, the key phrase in this definition is in small amounts. I mean, we're talking about incredibly tiny concentrations, like parts per million. But their effect, it's huge. A tiny, tiny shift in the amount of just one hormone can totally change what a plant is doing. It's amazing.
So let's meet the big five, the star players in this toolkit. You've got auxins, which are kind of the master architects of growth. Then there are gibberellins, which are all about elongation, making things longer. Cytokinins are the cell dividers, busy making new leaves and roots. Then you have ethylene, which is actually a gas that tells fruit when to ripen. And finally, the one we're going to focus on, abscisic acid, the ultimate stress manager. And that leads us right into section 3, where we're going to zoom in on abscisic acid, or ABA for short. Now, if most of the other hormones are like the gas pedal telling the plant to go, 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 ABA is the complete opposite. It's the plant's emergency brake for when things get dicey.
And you know, one of the diciest situations for a plant is running out of water. A drought can be a death sentence. So, what's a plant to do when it feels the soil drying up?
This is where ABA becomes an absolute hero. Okay, so check this out. It all starts in the roots. The roots sense the dry soil, and they start pumping out ABA. This chemical message travels all the way up the plant to the leaves. Once it's there, it basically tells these tiny little pores on the leaf, called stomata, to slam shut. And by doing that, it dramatically cuts down on water loss, helping the plant save every single drop it has.
And this is just a perfect illustration of what ABA does. It's not just for droughts. When winter is coming, ABA levels shoot up, slowing down all the growth, making buds go dormant. It's basically prepping the whole plant to survive the cold. It hits the brakes to guarantee it'll be around for the long haul.
But, of course, it's never that simple, is it? No hormone works in a vacuum. And that brings us to our next section, hormones in conflict. You see, a plant's life is this constant negotiation, a really delicate balancing act between chemical signals that are often telling it to do opposite things. And the battle between ABA and another hormone, gibberellin, or GA, is the perfect example. They're total opposites. ABA is shouting, stop, don't grow yet, it's not safe, which is what keeps seeds dormant. But gibberellins, they're the ultimate go signal, breaking that dormancy when spring arrives and conditions are just right. It's the ratio between these two that decides if a seed stays asleep or wakes up and sprouts. Okay, now let's talk about another one of these tools, ethylene. What's so wild about this one is that it's a gas. You've totally seen it in action. You know when you have one ripe banana on the counter and suddenly the whole bunch ripens overnight? That's ethylene gas at work. It's the signal that tells the fruit, okay, time to get soft, get sweet, and get eaten, so that animals will spread its seeds around. So we have hormones for stress and for ripening, but what about actually getting what you need to live? Well, that's where auxins come in. You can think of them as the plant's steering wheel, directing its growth toward things like sunlight and water. This image shows something just mind-blowing. It's called hydrotropism. So the roots start growing down, right, because of gravity. But when they sense there's water off to the side, something incredible happens. Auxins build up on the drier side of the root, which stops those cells from growing. This makes the cells on the wetter side grow faster, forcing the root to literally bend, sometimes making a complete U-turn, defying gravity just to get to that water. It's a pretty stunning move, all driven by an invisible chemical command.
So, you might be thinking, this is all really cool, but why does it matter to us? Well, that's what our final section is all about, harnessing the chemical code. Because as soon as we figured out this chemical language, we started learning how to speak it ourselves. And that has led to some incredible things, especially in farming. We use synthetic auxins, rooting hormone, to get cuttings to grow new roots. We even use super high doses of them as herbicides that kill broadleafed weeds, but leave grasses like corn totally fine. Those perfect tomatoes at the grocery store? Yeah, they were probably picked when they were still green and hard, then ripened up with a puff of ethylene gas right before they hit the shelves. We can even spray gibberellins on sugarcane to make the stalks grow longer, which means, you guessed it, more sugar. We've literally hacked the plant's own operating system. But here is where it gets really, truly wild. That emergency brake hormone, abscisic acid, the one that's so critical for plants, it turns out it's not just a plant thing. It's been found in animals, from simple little sponges all the way up the evolutionary tree, to us, to humans. This chemical messenger is ancient, way older than the split between plants and animals.
Think about what that means. We share a much deeper biological history with plants than we ever imagined. The quiet, still world of plants is speaking a chemical language that, in some fundamental way, is also our own. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets, what other connections are just sitting out there waiting for us to discover?